On page 677 of the hardcover edition of his book, The Better Angels of Our Nature, Steven Pinker writes that in Italy, quote, fascism happily coexisted with Catholicism, unquote. That is simply not true. The book Hitler's Pope by John Cornwell is a very anti-Catholic book and very unfair in my opinion, but even Cornwell admits on page 123 of that book that in 1931, Pope Pius XI denounced Mussolini's regime in an encyclical called Non abbiamo bisogno, which is an Italian phrase that means we have no use for this stuff. You can read more about it in the Wikipedia article about Pius XI. In that encyclical, Pius XI complained about the fact that Mussolini had outlawed the Catholic Action and Catholic Youth organizations, and said Mussolini was advocating, quote, pagan worship of the state, unquote, and accused Mussolini of indoctrinating young people in Italy with, quote, hatred and violence, unquote. Then in early 1940, when Mussolini was trying to stir up enthusiasm among the Italians for joining the German side in World War II, Pope Pius XII repeatedly and vehemently called for peace. Throughout Italy, priests echoed his views, and to put it mildly, Mussolini found that very irritating. You can read about this on page 241 of that book, Hitler's Pope by John Cornwell, that I already mentioned. Then in 1940, Hitler invaded Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Pope Pius XII responded to this by sending telegrams of sympathy to the monarchs of those three countries, and the texts of those telegrams were printed on the front page of the official Vatican newspaper. Mussolini sent his goon squads out to beat up the newspaper vendors who were selling the official Vatican newspaper, and ordered the Italian ambassador to the Vatican to complain to the Pope in person. A few days later, when the Pope was being driven to a nearby basilica, Mussolini's thugs attacked the papal limousine, rocking it and chanting, "Death to the Pope." You can read about this on page 243 of the book Hitler's Pope by John Cornwell that I already mentioned. After that, the Pope rarely left the Vatican until after Mussolini was overthrown. So the truth is that Pius XI and Pius XII both stood up to Mussolini. Steven Pinker is talking nonsense when he says otherwise.